This is Taylor Martin, writer of number 34, Isabella Stone. You're listening to the Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Even if a good part of you is plastic, always remember to wear your seatbelt. Welcome to the Blacklist Exposed. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson, and my muscle shake brings all the boys to the yard. Damn right. It's better than Boz. No? Nobody? All right. Thanks for joining us once again as we discuss number 34 on the Blacklist, Isabella Stone, which aired February 9th, 2017. It was written by Taylor Martin. Happy birthday, Taylor. And directed by Andrew McCarthy. When are we getting our Less Than Zero reunion?
It's in the finale.
Is it? Robert Downey Jr. just pops up. I almost said De Niro. That would have been weird. Show notes and other intel for this episode of The Blacklist Exposed can be found at theblacklistexposed.com.
See, that's the imposter theory. So Red does take off the Scooby mask at the end, and it's Robert Downey Jr.
Oh, that would be fantastic. And he's been high this whole time, because then it would be a direct connection.
It totally would be.
To that movie.
Oh, they open.
You know what? I gotta. How many people you think have not seen Less Than Zero? Because that's a fantastic movie.
I mean, it's a classic for us, you know, growing up when we were kids. Because we're old. It'd be curious to see how many are out there that have seen it. We should put it up in the Facebook group and take a poll.
Yeah, and then you get a bunch of people that say, oh, I didn't see that. Or I saw that. Yeah, I saw it. Yeah, you didn't see it. It's a classic. And Jack's Back, one of my favorites. How many people have seen Jack's Back? Raise your hands. All three of us. Yeah. You never saw that one, did you?
I'm just wondering where the other third person is, because there's only two on the mic. Someone's watching me.
Before we get rolling this week, we want to give a quick update on our Inside the Blacklist panel for C2E2, the weekend of April 21st to the 23rd. It is official. We do have a time slot. Our session will be Saturday at 3 p.m. Central Time in room S402. That's room S402 at the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo. Again, tickets for the con are $70 for the weekend or $40 just for Saturday. The room we have holds about 300 people, so as many of you that are within a day's journey of Chicago, we would love to get you there. We will do some trivia, get some scoop, and get ready for the final episodes of Season 4. Plus, for those that are listeners of the podcast, we'll have a meetup afterwards so that we can see all your smiling faces over some beverages. Again, it's April 22nd, 3 p.m., inside the Blacklist at C2E2, room S402. I believe John's going to be there, John Bokenkamp, the creator, correct?
Correct.
And possibly some surprises. So
you'll have to show up to find out. Yes, you will.
So will we.
Yeah, it's McCormick Place, downtown Chicago. So plenty of hotels in the area if you're coming in for the weekend, or if you're just driving up. Parking and everything is there too. So, or take the train if you're from Indiana or up in Milwaukee and Wisconsin. Yeah, lots of ways to get to downtown. It'll be fantastic, fun time.
It should be, yeah. That's a great expo. So I'm looking
it's
forward
huge,
to that.
Huge. I mean, I was amazed at how many people were there last year.
Looking forward to that. I'm sure most people are going to be coming to see John, whoever he may or may not bring, but you know, we'll be there too. So there's that.
There is that. They're coming for you, Aaron.
I'm going to bathe. I plan on it.
I'm glad it'll be the first time you wear pants for this podcast. That's nice.
Nope, not wearing pants. I'm going to do it in my underoos, my Blacklist underoos, which I just made.
Superman or Spider-Man?
No, Blacklist.
I'm going to make.
Yep.
That'll be funny. That'll be.
I will have a fedora on my rump. That's my plan.
There you go.
Is that classy? I don't know if that's classy or not. But
oh man, we're off the rails already this morning, people. Last week we asked you to answer the profiling question of the week, which was, why is Isabella Stone after Red?
And we kind of know, but we still don't know. But here's what our listeners thought. Tiffany Chestnut offers us a chestnut, right? Huh? No. Whoa, I'm dad joking all the way. Somebody is backing her. Well, yeah. She's a hired gun. At least I hope they aren't going the jilted lover route. Already did that with Madeline Pratt twice. Either way, she should lead us one step closer to our next big bad. I love that big bad is like a thing, because that's a Buffy thing.
It's true. It was, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen the episode yet. This comes from Orit Levy.
That's a cool name, by the way.
It totally is. A new commenter as well. Welcome to the podcast. I haven't seen the episode yet, but I think Kate is behind it.
Kate. Kaplan?
Kaplan.
Neil Ottenstein says he done her wrong. Wrong. He hadn't done nothing to her.
Well, we don't know
So it's her employee. Well, she said that she was employed because they asked her straight out, and she's like, "I'm not gonna. I could tell you, but I'm not gonna."
She could have been behind.
Yeah.
Well, Red could have been behind the whole thing that got her husband, jailed and rightfully kicked out or whatever it was that happened to them.
Could be,
Falling
or it
from
could have been
status.
her. Why did nobody say? We're going to talk about that. I'm like, why does nobody say that? Why does everybody just assume that she wasn't behind it? Because now that I know what she does, I'm like, I totally think she framed him.
I totally do too. Priscilla said he didn't show up to Florence for her either, and now she's pissed.
That's possible. Marta, Isabella Stone blames Red for Katarina's disappearance.
Well, that'd be an interesting
Red
twist.
cut his pee-pee off, according to Troy.
We have to talk about that today too.
No, we don't. We never have to talk about that ever again.
I may have to concede this week.
Oh, never mind. We're going to talk about that. I'm looking forward to it.
Julie Reschke said, "Hell hath no fury," or maybe it's Kaplan.
That's where I'm hinging my bets. Anita said, "Are we ditching last names? I don't know what we're doing here. I feel like I'm giving away their social security numbers, and you're like, no, let's not do that."
I work in HR.
I still think she's a hired hand for someone else. Madeline Pratt. Oh, everybody likes Madeline Pratt.
It was a fun character.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might be a thing. She has to come back every season. That would be interesting. Mona said she figured out that Red is in self-destruct mode and wants to speed up the process to her own advantage.
Anybody else hear Billy Idol in the background? Mona. No? All right. Ron Davis. I'm thinking they have to lead into redemption. So she might be Scotty's female goonette, tying her into the whole cobalt mine thing. I like that. That's an interesting way to go.
That's the ladies in the Goonies, the Goonettes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rachel Town said she wants his sexy bod.
Okay.
Possible.
She made it dirty. Julie Wright says, hired by someone, and that someone is the next big bad for Red. There's Big Bad again. The Cabal Mark II, and no doubt will take us up to the next hiatus. Who is it? Kaplan is too obvious. Katarina? Assuming she's alive. Maybe it's linked to Tom, or should I say Christopher, or it will end up with him going after Red, or maybe that was the plan all along. Got to be a segue into redemption, right?
That's where it's leading.
All good questions, but it sounds like you were tiptoeing around the answers, is what I'm saying.
And I have to take a nickel from Julie now for using my right trademark catchphrase as well.
Really? You trademarked the word right?
Yeah.
Dork.
Thanks as always.
All right,
for
dum-dum. Let's move on.
Thanks for the great responses. What's our question next week? I did the last two. You take this one, Aaron.
Okay, well, Aaron's question, is will wrestler become a liability? That's what I want to know. Do you think, because this whole episode he's like, man, I should be hanging out with my brother, but instead I'm doing all the dirty work for Red. Do you think he's going to become a liability? That's what we want to know from you guys.
It's true. It'll be interesting to talk about when we get to the characters for them, too, because there was a lot of undertones and things that we can kind of go back to from season one. I'm really excited to talk about this episode. So with that, my kids want to play a game of hacky sack later, so we're going to get to this case profile right now.
Nobody plays hacky sack anymore, do they? Is it really coming back?
I have no idea. I try to play. I am not coordinated enough. That's why I was the goalie on the soccer team instead of actually playing soccer, because I can't do that whole juggling thing.
Man, I tore a thigh muscle running. I don't think I should be doing anything that requires a coordination of any sort.
That's true.
Literally, I hurt myself putting a foot in front of the other foot. So I'm not doing that. Oof. All right, Isabella Stone. We begin this episode by robbing a guy named Plummer's prosthetic leg. So basically, it's the fugitive if it happened in the upside down. A little Stranger Things reference for you.
There you go.
Red ship guy, Sarantos, and his wife Karina then head to Morocco to purchase 3 cargo ships. He obviously loves and respects this guy and his wife. Throughout the episode, we see that quite often. And he trusts him implicitly, it seems like. And at this point, in most movies, we also know that Sarantos is probably going to be dead soon.
It's a good thing this is a TV show, not a movie. Oh, wait. Darn it.
He still ended up
dead.
Yeah. This all leads us to Isabella Stone, character assassin. She's also played by Trudy Monk. Did you ever watch Monk?
I did.
I loved Monk. And as soon as I saw her in the preview, I got all excited. I'm like, that's Trudy! And I think I'm probably the only person on the planet that said that.
Because everybody refers to her as Jan from the, Jan from the Office, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe it's Jan from the Office, yeah. But I loved Monk. I absolutely love Monk, and they always had like a sweet relationship. So that's where I know her from. But she's played by Melora Hardin, and the character Isabella Stone is an interesting one because she's not a nice person at all, and they try to give her a motive for her horrible deeds, but still framing people. I don't know. I always love. Do you ever see a show called Vengeance Unlimited years ago?
No, I did not.
It was Michael Madsen, and this is a weird connection, but Michael Madsen was basically this guy who played Mr. Church, I believe is what his name was, or Chapel, Mr. Chapel, sorry. And what he would do is find people that had done wrong and gotten away with something, like gotten away with a murder or gotten away with embezzlement or something that ruined someone else's life. And then he would frame them for something else. So it's basically what she's doing. So part of me, like halfway through the episode, I'm like, this woman's awful. And then I remembered how much I love that show. I'm like, wait a minute, I guess that means I have to like her now. So by the end of the episode, I kind of like her again.
See, and I love the episode from the standpoint of this character because I am always about mathematical calculations. And the fact that she can come up with all these different ways to murder people, set up people. I mean, it's an elaborate scheme to come up with all this stuff. And so I love the calculated thinking bad guys versus just, I'm going to come in and tear up the place.
It was, she was very ruthless, that's for sure, in order to accomplish her goals. I love my favorite line of the entire episode was, honey, I'm not going to shoot you. The gun is so that you keep quiet while Charlotte strangles you.
It was awesome.
That was fantastic.
Like
horrible, but fantastic.
Lily kind of did that burr thing when she said that. I was like, oh, wow, this is going to be a great show.
Yeah, and I really like the wife, Karina. I was kind of bummed because she didn't do anything wrong. She wasn't part of the whole, well, I guess she's guilty by association, and she probably knew that her husband was, involved in this stuff. But still, the woman's in her underwear. Come on. It's not nice.
It's a crime of passion.
That's how they made it set up.
You had to totally sell it that way. Although they didn't put the dress back on her. That was interesting that they had to do that because they had to make it look like she had come up from the casino floor, apparently.
Yeah, that was the plan. It's a good plan. Worked. They end up setting Sarantos up by framing him for his wife's murder. Very harsh, and that's really heartbreaking. I mean, they had this happy life. They're having a nice little honeymoon-ish 25th anniversary in Morocco, and she gets killed in her underwear, and husband gets framed for it. Horrible thing. Just goes to show that if you ever feel like you're drugged, don't ever go back to your room. Always go straight to where all the people are so that you have alibis. Be very loud, be very rambunctious, make sure people notice you, that sort of thing.
That's right. And make sure that you go to a friend's table who's losing at blackjack and pass out on the table. So that way you help your buddy at the same time. Exactly.
Good call. I like that. I'm taking you to Vegas with me because I'll be that guy that loses. We find out her name is really Judith Pruitt, a.k.a. Isabella Stone. Judith was the wife of Gavin Pruitt, a man arrested many years ago for a Wall Street pyramid scheme. Apparently, he insisted he was innocent all along. Don't they all? And his wife stood by him, but he was sentenced to prison for 10 years, where he was stabbed to death by a fellow inmate. Am I the only one who thought, why is no one asking if she actually framed him?
I was asking the same thing. If you're talking about why in this episode is the one that we decided to start bringing up Scotty Hargrave's name again. Maybe this is a allegory, a parallelism, whatever you want to call it, to kind of compare the two ladies. Maybe she doesn't like her husband, and therefore Isabella Stone didn't like her husband, and she did set him up and the whole thing. So a lot of good undertones in this episode that really make you go,
Yeah, but our team automatically goes to, well, she was really angry that he was set up, and so she decided to go after guilty people. Well, why is no one saying, do you think she set the husband up? No, she loved him. She'd never do that.
Never.
She's a good person.
Totally.
that part, I was like, what? I did a Scooby-Doo face for that.
Psychopaths are always psychopaths.
That's what I say. I mean, if you can go from 0 to 60 that fast, I would think you were probably always on 60.
Uh-huh.
There you go. Regardless, this leads them to Dr. Justin Sperry, a respected doctor with ALS who believes it feels good to do good. Hippie. Damn hippie.
The line. I had to laugh at that line. I was like, you guys feel great, right?
Yeah.
I felt like it was instead of a benefit or a fundraiser, it was more like a motivational seminar.
Have you ever been to? I've been to several, and they are very similar to that. Like, that's not surprising. There's a lot of conversations that make you go, "What? Hey, you hippie?" And that's kind of, I mean, he's doing good, and it does feel good to do good, but hearing it is always cheesy.
Well, I got news for you. The seminars you went to, they didn't help you.
No. Because you know what I did with my money? Bought TVs and stuff. Yep. Went on vacations.
Made you more bitter.
That's right. I took money out of homeless cans so I could go have a better vacation. That's what I did. Yeah, I'm a horrible person. No, I help people. I can't name them, but I'm sure I have. Pruitt/Stone is planning to use him, Dr. Sperry, to frame Red and ruin Sperry's foundation by making it look like it was a front to assist Red's dealings. I did have a question on this. So, while she's kind of trying to make him confess on camera, when she's trying to make Sperry confess on camera near the end.
At the pool? Yep.
Yeah, at the pool. Does she believe at that point that he is aware of Red's dealings and that he's just not acknowledging them? Because it feels like Sperry is the only one in this entire episode that's really seems innocent.
Well, he was innocent. He was framed because of the switcheroo of the suitcases, but at the same time, he has to know Reddington, right? Because of the interaction in the story that we get with him and Liz towards the end of the episode.
Right, but they paint the picture as though Isabella only frames the guilty. So does that mean she believes that he's well aware of the dealings?
I don't know. That's a really good question because after the second watch through, I'm like, well, where did they get the setup factor for this to happen? Because when you watched it the first time, that scene where they switched the briefcases was so short that after they had this whole confrontation, like, this is a bull-faced lie and you can't make me say this and I'm going to say it because I want my life spared. But then you have Red having that conversation with Liz afterwards. It almost made it seem like, well, maybe he was using the charity, but he also looked at him as a really, really great guy. So he was obviously donating to the charity. The question then becomes, how does it all wrap together? And so he obviously knew who Reddington was.
Yeah, I guess there's that. So I guess he was aware of how wrong Red is. I don't know. I feel like there's a little bit of, she thought that he's a bad person. And I'm like, I don't think he's really a bad person. I mean, he's helping a lot of people. So I'm okay. Hey, if you want to take Scarface's money and you help a bunch of orphan kids or something, I'm good with it. I'm fine with it. I don't care. Now, I think she was trying to imply that he was a front for Red, and I don't think that seemed to be the case, but I could be wrong.
It's true.
Let's go into characters, buddy.
You betcha. Music is always up first. There's no better way to start out an episode with a little AC/DC, as the appropriately titled Shake a Leg is heard over the car crash in Paris as Stone's goons remove the contents from inside the driver's prosthetic leg.
Did you, little side note, did you know that AC/DC no longer has, Brian Johnson? Was that their lead singer?
Mm-hmm.
And now they have Axl Rose?
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
Did you know that? I mean, Axl Rose, take me down to the paradise. That guy is going to be doing AC/DC songs.
They kind of sound the same a little bit.
No, one is, and the other one is, take me down. Those are my impressions. That's all I got. I just saw that last week, and it really kind of bummed me out. AC/DC is kind of a childhood thing, so I'm kind of bummed a little bit.
Well, look how many times the singers have changed in Van Halen. It happens.
Yeah, but
we're getting older.
I don't equate Van Halen to AC/DC, my friend, all right? Van Halen's good and all, but they ain't AC/DC.
Metal's metal.
It's
hard rock.
Different. We can't talk anymore. Continue.
I was just glad to see that it was a male in the front, because if it was a female person that came to the windshield, then obviously she's got legs from ZZ Top would have been the better choice.
Well played.
But it was a male, so
shake a leg.
Shake a leg works. Later in the episode, as Red gives Liz a cuckoo clock for Agnes, while the ponytail intercepts Isabella Stone, we hear Marika Hackman's Before I Sleep. Why this gift? Why now? Interesting lyrics in this song that plays over the background. It says, I foresee this ending in a shower of flame, so drink your holy water soon, and I'll wash my loving hands. I'm through. So, interesting choice, I thought.
What do you think it means?
Maybe he just knows his time's running out, too. Things are things are creeping in from around him, and people are dying around him, and Dembe's talking back to him, and yeah, things are not good for Red right now.
I'm going to have legs in my head for the rest of this episode. That's a true story. She knows how to use them. Isabella Stone, at the end of the episode, Red assaults the FBI.
Sorry, technically that would have worked because Charlotte was the one that did pick up the leg. So it's like, she's got legs.
See, now you're
joke.
Now you're going too far.
I am.
So this is where you had it, man. You sealed the deal, and then you milked it. That's what happened. I'm sorry. Isabella Stone, at the end of the episode, Red does assault the FBI and breaks out Isabella. Do you think she's going to actually play a role in the future, or is it just going to be one of those quick questioner and gunshot deals?
Could turn her. That would be an interesting thing. Like,
you think so?
Maybe she ends up working for him.
She seems pretty resolved to. She wants to bring him down. Like, she really doesn't like Red, it seems like.
But she's also very calculating and criminal-like Red would be. Because even though she wants to bring Red down, she still's not going to help the FBI either.
Just not as quite. I was just kind of curious if you think she's going to play a part going forward.
Any criminal could be bought with the right price or the right leverage against him.
And you know this, do you?
I do.
From all your time watching TV?
I've been talking to you for 4 years.
Yeah.
You're still here.
You can't buy me, man. You can't buy me. All right, you can. I mean, seriously, what's the price? Because I'll make up stuff. I don't care. If I was her, I would have totally ratted Red out. I'd be like, what do you want to know? Give me a deal. Let's go draw up the paperwork.
It'd be the great TV trope, right? Okay, here, I'll tell you everything. Cut to next scene. Damn it.
No, see, the difference between me and Isabella Stone is she's very stoic, and I'm not going to do it. And they wouldn't even have to finish the sentence. Look, here's what we want to. All right, here's what you want to know. I'll tell you. Give me a pen. I'm writing it down.
She didn't seem very stoic at the end of the episode, though. She looked scared out of her gourd.
Well, yeah, she's in a meat locker or whatever. She's in a freezer. That's not going to end well for her. I mean, Red will be nice and comfy, and she'll just be blood all over the ice. That's not good.
Yeah.
Baz and Dembe, aka Ponytail and Muscle Shake, they get to basically get planted inside the police station, which I thought was kind of a cool breakout.
Well,
apparently they don't have many cops in Morocco, but whatever.
And this was the interesting thing when this scene came up, because not to cross shows or topics or whatever, but remember when Daniel Knopf was saying on his interview a while ago about how you can't do something on TV because somebody else might have already done it on TV, and here we got 2 break into police stations in the same week.
What was the other one?
24 Legacy that started up this week.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that's right.
He broke into a police station too, and I was like, really? Must be a thing. It's a trend.
I got to tell you, this one made more sense than that one did.
It absolutely made more sense.
Because, not to switch shows or anything, but I was watching it going, why? This makes no sense. Jack Bauer would not do this. He would just go in there guns blazing, and it would work fine. Use that plan. I like this plan to basically infiltrate the police station and get out Sorrentos. I thought that was kind of a cool plan.
I also had that brief weird moment crossing shows when I was sitting there and I'm like, Inspector Clouseau looks like Rick Grimes for some reason.
Now we're gonna get an epidemic.
He walked in the first quick shot as he walked into the shadows. I was like, holy crap, it's Rick Grimes.
Oh, if he would have had a kid that just came in and annoyed the piss out of everybody, that would have been great. Nice little nod. With only one eye, of course. So we move on. That's about all they did. We're going to talk a little bit more about Dembe here in a minute.
Except for Ponytail's awesome intercepting of the FBI transport van at the end of the episode.
That was pretty kick-ass, yeah. They do a lot with very little this week.
Was that something you wanted to see? Did you want to see Boz show up there, or did you just want to see it all happen and then see her in the ice truck later to know it was Red? It was kind of like, it kind of spoiled the fun of Red being the one that intercepted her, even though you could probably put it together anyway.
No, I don't think it spoiled it. I like seeing Boz wherever we can get him.
I agree with that.
He's a cool guy, man. He's got that. He's one of those guys that you can tell he's got a presence in real life, because he never really gets any lines. And whenever he's there, he looks like I wouldn't mess with this guy. I mean, same with Hisham, with Dembe. Every time you see him, you're like, I ain't messing with him, man. He looks like he can just beat me senseless. When I see Boz, I'm like, I think he could kill my family, and I wouldn't even realize it.
Yeah, they both could rip your arms off and beat you like a Wookiee.
But see, Dembe has that sweet, sensitive look to him a little bit. Like, vulnerable almost to a degree. You know, he kind of plays both angles, tough guy and vulnerable. Boz just looks like he could kill everyone I know. And so every time I see him, I'm like, he's going to kill everybody I know and everybody Red knows. So, yeah, I find him as a threat just being there. I like it. And
I'm just envisioning the both of them in like a Mortal Kombat game. Like Boz's.
Where do you make that leap?
Well, like Boz's finishing move is like the whip of the ponytail or something. Takes your head off.
Finish him. All right, I'm with you, but not really. Cooper is taking control back of the post office. I like that a lot because he starts off, you know, saying, "Yeah, we're going to help Red," and then by the end of the episode, he's pissed off, and Red hangs up on him.
Classic Red, right? I'm done with you. Click. Or I got to go.
Now, do you think, and unfortunately, I caught the preview. I didn't mean to, but it's one of those I didn't get to the remote in time. Thanks, NBC. But do you think that this is going to cause a problem with Cooper?
It's causing a problem now? Hasn't it been causing a problem for 4 seasons?
But do you think it's going to make any difference? Or is it just going to be one of those, it's a spat, it'll be over pretty quick?
It's a spat, it'll be over pretty quick. At least between the two of them. They go back a long time.
I don't know, man. I mean, you keep using them for personal gain, and it's basically been the entire season. I would think, and it like not in the previous seasons where it wasn't always obvious. I mean, it's been obvious throughout this entire season. Red is using the post office for his own gain week after week. You know, to get Liz and to get Agnes, and then now to clear himself. So, at what point do they say, "Look, this isn't a good plan going forward"?
That's a really good question. And I think that goes into Wrestler's character a little bit this week because he's the good cop, the Boy Scout. And you look at where he's struggling with it because he's kind of been the one from season 1 who's all like, Reddington is a bad guy. I've chased Reddington my whole life. And now he's at this point of, why are we doing this stuff for Reddington? He even said, I think, a line in there when he was with Samar that Reddington signs our paychecks. Mm-hmm. So you really have to wonder, where is the good of the country coming in, and where is the, like you always said, government resources being spent on these particular heinous acts and crimes to capture these people? Yes, they're bad people, but at what point are they really something that they would have known about or figured out themselves eventually? Or is it truly still the Blacklist MO, where I'm bringing you people that you have no idea exist in the world? In that case, yeah, they should help Red then, because they are taking a bad guy off the table. It's an
interesting dynamic going forward.
Yeah, it's the question of, what do they do after they're captured? Kind of like when he let Red go see Natalie Luca last week. Mm-hmm. That's where I think you have the crossing of the line to figure out, you can or can't do this. And just the dynamic in that phone call between Red and Coop too, where it's like, I'm not asking. Oh, snap. That's a little bit different.
Yeah, I didn't like that. If I was Cooper, I would have called him back just so I could hang up on him.
Well,
hey, Red, you getting this? Click.
Well, and I think that was the writer's way of telling all of us, hey, remember, Red is a bad guy. He's a bad guy.
Don't need a memory of that. I know. I keep telling people that.
We know. We got to keep reminding people.
Yeah, sometimes you do, man. I mean, like, he's so wonderful. He's awful in a good way. He's a good awful.
Mm-hmm.
Aram and Samar mostly offer exposition this week. In fact, I like when Aram's actually going through exposition and they fade into Wrestler's conscience. I thought that was like into his phone call. I'm like, that's great. Like, they're not even going to complete the exposition because we're going to just segue into this. You guys have seen this before. Let's go get to Wrestler. I like that. I thought that was kind of cool. Samar is visibly concerned with Wrestler, which we're going to talk about Wrestler in a minute. But we learn that her lucky number is 36. Which is a great coincidence because my birthday is actually June 36th. So it must be fate.
I'll take black on that one. Not red, black.
I like that.
I will
red
win.
36.
I will
red
win.
36.
Telegraph that one all the way home.
Did you, does the number mean anything to you, or is it just like a random aside?
Probably just a random aside. Maybe it was somebody's birthday on staff.
Somebody turned 36?
Yep. Not Taylor. Somebody else.
Wow. I didn't know we were being ageist. I wasn't assigning a name to it.
Well, we said happy birthday to Taylor. I didn't want people to think that Taylor was 36. I was just clarifying for a point.
Maybe she is. What's wrong with 36? You got a problem with people that are 36 years old? Huh?
No, I don't.
Huh? Sounds like it. It feels like it. I think we should go to court. All right, Wrestler wrestles with his conscience
Consciousness.
Same thing. In regards to working this task force, playing Red's dancing monkey, he's getting kind of sick of it because his brother's having open heart surgery, and here he is bouncing around. My first question to you, sir, is why didn't he just say, hey, my brother's having heart surgery, I probably should go be with him? Because I think Cooper would let him.
Because he's Mr. just doing his job. He still has orders. Cooper gave him the orders. He says he's got to go, right? But he's still going to be, why am I doing this? Is this something I need to deal with? Maybe I need to take a leave of absence and be with my brother. The more interesting conversation comes at the end when Samar is, whether you're doing it for Reddington or not, you're doing your job. Mm-hmm. And then he said, it's my brother. I should have been there. So now he's questioning his own belief, his own core beliefs of what does it mean to do the job, which then gives him an interesting character development moving forward.
Do you agree with him or don't agree with him?
He should have been with his brother. I mean, it's a tough one, right? My grandfather had heart surgery recently, and you just sit there and you go, yeah, it's heart surgery. It should be fine. But at the same time, anytime you take that risk of going under the knife, something could happen, right? There is that 1% or 10% or whatever it is. There's always a percent. So yeah, if family is important to Wrestler, then he should have been there. If the job is important to him, and maybe this is a backstory that we don't know about Wrestler. Maybe there was some decision he made in his life to follow Reddington, and then that ended up what got his fiance killed, right? So maybe family to him is important, and that's something we can explore down the road. At the same time, you got the flip side of Samar, who is saying, hey, you're doing your job. This is what it was supposed to be. And we've seen Samar kind of soften up a little bit over the last couple of episodes. And now you have Wrestler who's saying, it's my brother. I should have been there. So does that now plant another, softening of Samar to have that conversation go forward? So really interesting character development here already in the fourth season.
Now, my question to you is, we've been talking a lot about this season, how we want more for Wrestler to do. Because we feel like he's just, standing there, just running after bad guys. That's basically all he's done. Is this the kind of storyline you're hoping for him?
Well, I think it goes back to, I know you hate it, but it's hanging chads, right? If he's getting into this struggle, this depression mode, this, struggling internally, could that lead him back to a narcotic situation?
No!
And then you bring back some of that stuff from earlier in the season, because it's a storyline that had been dropped.
As well it should be, sir.
I agree with you. It's just a way that they could bring it back. It's a potential. It's something they could write towards, or they could write towards him not going back to narcotics and overcoming it because he has grown stronger over the years because of his relationships with Keen and with Samar and with Aram, even though he ignores Aram to take the phone call. It's okay. Aram will forgive you.
I'm sure he will. I don't see that as a leading back to his addiction thing. I think that was very specific in its occurrence.
Intent.
I think, yeah, in its occurrence, yeah. I think this is very much about weighing the job versus family. I think it's a conflict that everybody has, and there's no reason why a person on this task force wouldn't have it. We're basically doing the villain's work for him. Yes, they're taking a bad guy off the street, but they're also doing Red's bidding for him. Mm-hmm. And you're missing quality time. He already lost a fiance. I mean, your brother could have died, and you didn't even go see him. You're on the phone, and that's great, but you're going to Morocco, you're going to all these other places. If I was him, I would seriously consider my life choices. I mean, family should always come first. You only get one family, you can get another job. Maybe not in America, but most places you can. And so, yeah, I think definitely. That's something that should weigh him down. I like the storyline. I like, as long as they don't go anywhere near drug abuse, because I can't do that again. But I like that they're giving him, because he's the guy that would have that conflict. Everybody else, maybe Aram could have that internal conflict, but everybody else, I think, would kind of just work through it. I could see Wrestler walking away based on his character, because he's very Dudley Do-Right.
Mm-hmm. And the thing you have to think there is it going to be just this scene? Is this it? Or are they actually going to write this somewhere? That's the question that we have to kind of wrestle with. But
I already used it.
I know
you can't use it. I used it.
I was looking for a different word and it just didn't come out. But if they don't take this somewhere now, because Wrestler has kind of been background for the last couple of weeks, now we give him this chance to open up and see him in the foreground again. if they don't take it somewhere, will you be disappointed?
Yeah, probably, because I keep saying I just want wrestler to have more to do, so that's one way to give him some more to do. And every once in a while, a storyline gets kind of put on the back burner or whatever, like Cooper and Charlene. That's one. And it doesn't bother me because I'm not really that invested in that storyline. Like, if we never see Charlene again, I wouldn't care, honestly.
Yeah, because you can just assume that they said we're amicably going to part ways and we're done.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I feel like that's an easily resolved conflict in my head. Whereas, wrestler introducing this, I think that's a bigger dynamic. That's a big job versus family thing that I think you could play with. And I don't think you could just, next episode, don't deal with it at all and, never come back to it without it being well, wait a minute. I mean, did he ever resolve that internally? I think that's one of the things you have to play out. Where Cooper and Charlene, that kind of storyline, I can assume where it went. I can make up I can figure that one out in my own head,
Especially as we're leading up to Tom having to make that decision of job or family.
No, because we already know what Tom's going to choose. I mean, I saw the commercial. No offense, but they keep toying with this decision, and I'm like, I know where it's going. I mean, there's no debate in my head. So that's funny. But I think they are setting it up so that wrestler has more to do while Tom is off doing the spinoff. You know what I mean?
True.
So they're giving him more screen time. That leads us to Liz, which really she didn't have.
Sorry, one more thing there. I find it interesting, though, because with Tom leaving for the spinoff, potentially, because we don't know how the timing of all this is going to work. Like when they pick back up in April, is it, the time has passed on Redemption, or what's happening on Redemption is happening at the same time as what's happening on the Blacklist?
How much time do you think Ryan Eggold has? The guy's got to sleep.
No, I mean,
he can't do both.
Like calendar time. Like let's say it's March right now, right? It's March in the show, March 2017 or 16 or whatever it is. So is Blacklist happening when it goes off the air on February 23rd? Is it like March 1st, right? And then Redemption goes March 1st and runs, 6 months into the future or whatever. Does Blacklist pick up 6 months in the future, or does Blacklist stay at March 1st when it comes back on April 20th? That kind of overlap thing is what I'm talking about. In showtime, not real time.
In showtime, not real time.
Because
this show occurs in showtime.
The question I have is the wrestler and Samar dynamic coming back up versus, say, wrestler talking to Liz about this, because this seems like something that wrestler and Liz would talk about, the brother, and having this kind of bonding moment if you go back to like a season 1, season 2 situation. So I find it interesting that we've had Samar kind of doing this pining after Aram for the last couple of episodes.
I wouldn't go so far as to say pining.
Well, realizing that she has feelings for him.
Understanding. Yeah. But pining is like, hey, Ram, I want to be with you. That's what pining. I don't see that.
So then we have the Samar coming in and doing the, I feel sorry for you, or conversation with you, wrestler. I have not necessarily have feelings for you, but I am feeling something for you as my partner, or because we shared a moment or whatever it was back then. Mm-hmm. So I just found it interesting, the choice that it would be wrestler having the conversation versus Liz, or Samar having the conversation instead of Liz.
That's interesting. Sure. Yeah. I find that interesting, but I think that'll probably change once Tom walks off for some redemption. You know what I mean?
Drives off in his boat.
Which leads us finally to Liz, who has really little to do this week other than save Stephen Hawking from the pool. I guess that's not nice, but it's still funny. So does she go against wrestler by taking some initiative and breaking into that storage locker used by Charles Murphy as a pop-up safe house? Do you think that was wrong for her to do that?
So this is the challenge I had with that scene, was that you had wrestler standing right there. Said, hey, you can't do it. You just got your badge back, and I'm doing it for Reddington. I hate Reddington. I like Reddington. We'll talk about Liz and Reddington in a minute, because that's another conversation that came up from this episode. The thing that struggled with it almost was like they should have left together, and then she comes back to the thing later.
Mm-hmm.
Because the issue was she breaks in, and wrestler's not involved in that scene at all. So had wrestler gone down? Was he still in the hallway? So was wrestler complicit with it? So that seemed like it was a little bit weird for me and how that sequence played out. Because it was making a point to say, I'm not going to be part of this. And then, boom, she's in.
Mm-hmm. Look, he lets her make her own decisions. That's what I go with. He realizes that she's going to do whatever she wants to do. Here are the options. Here's what I would recommend you do. And then he lets her make her choice. And then he walks away. I like that at least he brought it up, because that's the first thing. I'm like, why are you breaking the law, man? You just got your badge back. You should be, if anything, abiding by every regulation. I don't care if it's for red or not. I mean, every regulation. So,
but that's the question. That's the whole point of the scene.
Nope, that was an answer. I just gave you the answer. That was the correct answer.
We're watching him struggle with this concept of, why are we doing this? Why are we getting paid by Red? We're basically on Red's payroll. We're doing things for Red. Here, you're going to act like Red in this situation, completely go against the law. Yet I'm going to look the other way. Like a season 1 wrestler, season 2 wrestler would have, we moved on from those characters, and the characters have grown over time. But, early relationship between wrestler and Liz, they would have had that conversation. And here it's like you said, like he is letting her make her own choices, and that's fine. But at the same time, it's at the same exact point that they're having this struggle with wrestler and his, should I be working, should I not be working conversation. So they almost conflict with each other in the scene a little bit.
Yeah, to a degree. I think he's just setting it up and saying, here's what you should be doing. I'm not going to take part of this anymore. I'm not breaking the law for this guy. And he's right. And she should have followed suit. But she's Liz. She's going to do what she wants.
But he did break the law. He's complicit because he let her do it.
Yes.
We've had this argument before. You told me that it was
true.
Complicit. Yeah.
But see, now it's in my favor. And when it's in my favor, I want to change the perception of that. But you're right. You're absolutely right. He's complicit. He should have stopped her. Damn it. Using my own words against me. That's not right.
I listen.
Like,
see?
Yeah. Well, it's the first time you've ever done that in like 4 years of doing this damn podcast. So I'm kind of surprised. I never thought you'd call me to carpet, but whatever.
There you go.
All right. That's about all we got from Liz. But Tom finds out that his dad was John Locke. Holy crap.
Spoiler alert.
Did not know that. And now, you know what would have been fantastic?
Well, yeah, we did, but
if we would have seen him in a wheelchair, I probably would have peed myself.
It was bad enough that it was a plane crash. Like Twitter was like, man, Terry O'Quinn really needs to stay away from planes.
Yeah, Terry O'Quinn he's the actor playing Tom's dad, by the way, if you didn't know that. Because a lot of people, believe it or not, did not watch Lost. And he's an actor that's been around forever. I have seriously, when they cast him, and that's the guy that I couldn't talk about, so I had to be dumb with. But now that we officially have seen him, I love Terry O'Quinn. So you have two actors that I love going to Redemption. And that's making me really excited. But Terry O'Quinn is an actor. A lot of people know him from Lost. I've known him since Stepfather back in the 80s because I saw that movie in the theater. Literally the only person in the theater. I love his performance in that, and I followed him ever since that. So the guy is a great actor. To see him come into the Blacklist gets me excited. In whatever form they use him in. He's done a lot of stuff since Lost. I mean, he's popped up on Hawaii Five-0, and he's done a lot of... he did a TV show where he was the devil. You remember that one?
Oh, 666 Park Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved it.
He was
a
great
cool
in that show.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh.
He's a great actor. And, of course, he was an Alias, so, Troy knows him from that. But he's been around forever, and he's a great actor. So the fact that he's coming to Redemption, and you've got Famke Janssen, that's a whole lot of excitement right there.
Plus comedy between Ryan Eggold and Eddie Gathegi is going to be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm actually starting to get really excited for that show. Like I was looking forward to it, but I'm getting excited. Are you feeling the Tom burn?
We've said this numerous times on the podcast about how we feel about the Tom and Liz relationship. There's a lot of people in the community that feel about the Tom and Liz relationship, maybe a little more strongly than we do. But
somebody wrote a letter because of it, right?
Totally. We'll talk about that in a bit too. We will. Yeah, a little bit. But
okay.
We agree that we do not want Tom and Liz together. I like Tom Keene as a character. The Tom Keene that is Tom Keene, Jacob Phelps, Christopher Hargrave, Tom Bond.
Yeah.
I love Crazy Tom, Kill Tom, Steel Tanker Truck Tom, Heist Tom. That's the Tom that I like. So I'm excited for the spinoff because that's the character I've wanted all along. I didn't want him to come back and save Liz and be the doting father and swing your daughter in the park and blah, 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 blah. No. I want Tom Bond, Tom Keene. That's why he's number 007 on the Blacklist.
So you don't want Full House Tom.
No.
You want Tom to abandon his family and go off and be the man of espionage.
He could come back and have a romantic
Just say
moment
yes,
at the end. But
say
yeah,
it.
no.
You just want to say, I want Tom to abandon his child. Say it.
I do.
Oh, that's so funny.
We don't want the child at all, but it's got to be there because it's probably driving some bigger part of the story with Red. So we can forgive it for now.
I want a Tom's Dad show where it's just Tom's dad, where I just watch Terry O'Quinn for an hour every week. I would watch that, or Famke. I'm so excited now, man. Seriously, these are two people that I love to watch, and I agree with you. I think Tom sitting on the
floor
couch
pining
with the baby and looking at old videos and stuff. That's not really if you're going to have Tom on the show, yes, that's not really exciting. And I could see how for Ryan, that's got to be really monotonous, right? At this point, he's like, all right, how many times are you going to show me being, the dad here?
Yeah.
I feel like Bob Saget. I should be out doing something.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. He needs to shoot somebody.
Well, it goes back to the whole. I go back to Coffee Shop Girl. I go back to Gwen, right? The guy the guy's girlfriend from the Kara Kurt episodes that he was that was trying to get Kara Kurt in early season 3. Like I like that. I hate to use the word womanizer, but I like the calculated Tom, the thinking Tom. That's a Tom I want to see. So I think this is coming at the perfect time for that to happen. And then, of course, when Terry O'Quinn was cast, it was like, oh, yeah. Like, excited.
I'm just letting you know.
I almost feel bad. I really almost feel bad that we're not doing the full 8-week podcast now and doing it just in the 2 episodes. Because it's pretty...
I don't. Honestly, it's not because I'm not looking forward to the show. I've got South by Southwest coming up, and you guys know I do another podcast called Hollywood Outsider, and I have to cover that whole festival for that. And that is a lot of work, believe it or not. I need to focus on that.
And I'm going to find John Locke's wheelchair that was left on the island in Hawaii. So,
man, if they call an off for an interview with Terry O'Quinn, you better take it. I'm just letting you know.
For sure.
If they're listening, I would die to talk to Terry O'Quinn. I can't promise we'll do a lot of Blacklist talk, but I would still love to talk to him. I love that dude. Love him. All right. So we've got that. We do find a little bit, now we're done with our fanboy-ishness. We find out a little bit more about his situation. His dad dies in a plane crash, which obviously is not going to be the case. I do not believe that to be the case. And he's now upset because you don't cast Terry O'Quinn and then kill him and so he's just in a video clip. You just don't do it.
Well, let's be clear. We have a baby who was supposedly killed that is now alive. The family dodges death more than anybody.
They're good at this. Mentions yet again his mom's offer to be an operative. Spin-off! Visits the detective who was the lead detective who investigated his abduction 30 years ago, and where he says that he knows for a fact that Christopher Hargrave died. What do you think is going on here?
Somebody... Now we have to go to this video of the supposed killer. I hate to say this, but again, we got the information that Famke or that Scotty was Tom's mom from Reddington. Mm-hmm. Granted, the press releases all say that that's the case too, but they also said Liz was dead and Megan changed social media and all that stuff. But
don't plant seeds. Don't you do it.
I'm just putting it out there that is Tom really Christopher Hargrave? You don't know that. You just can't, from what's on the screen, you can't say it, At this point,
because Red lies to everybody but Liz.
Exactly. It's a rule. So
I don't want to, man. That would be infuriating to me. I don't want to play with that dynamic again. Now, I'm fine if you want to play with the mystery of why they would fake his death.
Yes.
That is interesting to me.
That's exactly what I'm looking forward to in the show.
I'm fine. I'm fine with that. That's interesting. If you do the is she or is she not his mom, that will probably be a little grating, only because we're already doing that.
Oh,
I don't want that repeated.
I'm saying that they said in the press release that it's his mom, so I'm believe that it's his mom. I'm questioning is it a Hargrave? Like, could have Scotty been with somebody else, and maybe Scotty's not the mom. Maybe Howard Hargrave is the dad. There's that whole family dynamic of who's really the father, but that's the same show, right? So you don't want to have the exact same show as the Blacklist.
You can't have that again, because you just can't duplicate something like it's a very thin premise as it is, and the Blacklist has worked it. But you can already tell that, fans don't want that repeated. You can just tell that from fans of the Blacklist. So you can't do that again. And I think they know that. They're a very smart group of writers.
I just want a cool heist show with lots of good quippy one-liners. And
oh, hell yeah. I want Ocean's 4 or whatever the number is. That's what I want.
Five.
Absolutely. Whatever the why do they always forget what's her name? Which is sad because I just forgot her name.
Tawny, Cypress?
The fourth one.
Nazrolin?
Yes, thank you, Tawny. What are they like in the commercial? It's just like these three Blacklists just weren't redone. Is it because they've actually been on the list and she wasn't?
Correct.
Is that why?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yep. And don't forget, Adrian Martinez is back there too, playing the character, the Aram character for the spinoff.
The Aram character. I like that. So I'm pretty excited about that. We do find out that Dad is a man who wrestled with his demons. Haven't we all? His mom is a manipulative woman. Even her own husband didn't trust.
Foreshadowing for Isabella Stone? Is there some parallelism there?
You really think it's possible that Scotty hired her, huh?
I'm absolutely positive, because even the conversations
positive or possible.
I'm 90% on the line that foul play was involved in the family. It just it was set up that way in the Scotty Hargrave Alexander Kirk Part 1 episodes, that Howard was just not, that they were already on bad terms. She even talked about that. Like, I don't see my husband as often. She had the conversation with Red. So there's tension in that family.
Oh yeah. There's so much tension. But what about the video? We end up watching this video at the end by Richard Game, I think it was his name, who claims to have killed Christopher Hargrave. So you think this guy just took the fall?
Could have been.
He's very nonchalant about killing a child.
It's like, yeah, I just grabbed a knife from the kitchen. I'm holding the baby, and I swear the kid was fighting back.
Now,
because that's what Tom does.
I don't believe that the guy, which by the way, he got a hold of that confession tape pretty quick, and for 30 years old, looks fantastic. I mean, it's almost high def. So they had some great betas back then. What do you think about that whole confession?
I have to say it was deliberately planted, paid off, taking, it just didn't seem like it was right. And the fact that they never, if he's carrying a knife in from the kitchen into the bedroom to kill this kid, and yet the kid went missing from the apartment, then how can they ever find out that the kid was actually dead? You can plant so much evidence and change so many things around. I mean, it was purely a kidnapping, and they had to confess to murder in order to get people off the scent, because they didn't want people to find Christopher Hargrave, a.k.a. Jacob Phelps, a.k.a. Tom Keene.
Poor guy. He's got no name. The man with no name. I mean, he should start chewing cigars. Only old people will get that point. All right, so moving on to Red. We'll find out more about that next week, I'm sure, as they plant some more seeds for the spinoff. Red, you know what? I do want to mention, I'm actually kind of impressed with this. Even though they have been obviously orchestrating the Tom's exit as we go on, I don't think it's detracted from the show at all. And I thought it would, but it hasn't. I don't personally feel like it has.
Well, like we said, there's signposts along the way, and they have to hit these mile markers as they go along. We've known since the March of almost a year ago now that a spinoff was in the works. So you have literally a whole calendar year to plan a series to hit those signposts to get to that point. I'm just glad that it's actually playing off and hitting where it needs to hit and still keep the show interesting.
Yeah.
Because I know there's people out there that really don't want to watch the spinoff, and they feel like the spinoff is taking away from the show. And I feel like these last 4 or 5 episodes, I hate to say it, I think the first half of season 4, except for the Kaplan stuff, was kind of weak. This stuff is actually a lot more meatier and a lot more season 1 like.
Yeah, just because I think the first half of the first third of the season
for
was a
third,
lot
I
of the
guess, not
same. It
half.
was the same plot. It was basically we got to get Liz and Agnes back. It was like one long elongated thing. Here, I think we're actually back to the Blacklist of the week, but you're also working the Tom angle into it, and I think they're doing it interesting. Like I'm not taken out of it. I know that spinoff's coming, but I don't feel like, man, do we have to do another spinoff thing? I mean, I'm not feeling that, and that's a compliment. And
because
I like the way they're doing it.
I was absolutely worried for that. To be quite honest,
I've seen it in so many shows that have done a spinoff where I'm like, God, could you make this any more obvious? You know what I mean? Where it's just like the whole episode becomes a spinoff, and that I don't like. And I think this is the right way. It feels like to me to do it. So I just wanted to mention
the thing that I've always struggled with the show, though, over the many seasons, is this Tom and Red dynamic. The fact that Red
he hates him, he likes him, he hates him, he likes him, he hates him, he likes him.
Yo-yos more than Liz does most of the time.
There's some truth there.
It's just interesting that out of all the people he's going to come to Red to have this conversation of tell me about my past, and Red's like,
Red's the only one that knows anything.
But
so who else is he going to go to?
Like he's going to give the answer, just like he hasn't given the answer to Liz. It's complicated.
It's complicated, but I also, in the same respect, I think he sees himself in Red to a degree. So yeah, I think he sees himself like. Red is a bit of a back and forth, good and bad kind of guy, and so is Tom. So I think, even though he might not like Red and he despises a lot of the things Red does, I think to a degree he understands him because he's similar.
True.
Boom. See, every once in a while, every 6 or 7 podcasts, I've got logic.
Well, I already said that Liz and Red are almost similar. She's morphing into him in a way. So it would make sense.
We've all said that. You're not special.
Let's
move on.
It would make sense that they were married to each other, or not married.
You know what?
Pseudo-married.
The world isn't about you, Troy. Let's move on.
Parented a child.
I know your ego is taking a bump because of your fancy letter this week, but let's move on. Red. That's right. I just totally went, read on Troy. Red. Does the license plate, I want to ask you, does that mean anything? BA204TR. I was trying to, I'm like, does that spell anything? And I couldn't make a word out of it. So.
Well, I was coming up like Boz, Agnes, Tom, Red. I was trying to feel like where all the characters' names in the license plate. 204 doesn't seem like anything other than if that 204 is episode 204 and that's where all the answers are. Everybody go back and watch it now. I'm sure people will now that I said that. No, I just think it was the stuff that he was able to remember. Maybe it's tied into something James has in his personal life. I don't know. Just so he could pick it. B is in boy. A is an apple. Just say the numbers.
I don't know. I'm sure there's something. And if you guys think you know anything, let us know. Because it's one of those things that was fascinating to me. And I'm sure it's one of those where it's like, it means nothing, morons. I'm sure that's what the show is probably like. It means nothing. But we're the internet. That's what we do. We try to decipher all this stuff. So anyway, Red, we already talked a lot about what Red's done this episode, but he does orchestrate a breakout that does go wrong and ultimately, yes, gets Sorrento's killed. And so on the plane back, Dembe is counseling him and Cooper won't listen to him and his world is basically unraveling. Do you think he's out of his element? Because when Dembe talks to him and he tries to reason with him about you're putting yourself in more and more danger, you're doing all these things, he says, I don't even know how to respond to that. So what do you think's going on in Red's head?
Yeah, and that's the biggest question I have with season 4 so far. It made sense when he was going after Agnes because his main thing was keep Liz safe. Do everything you can to keep Liz safe. Nothing that's happened since Agnes came back has been about Liz. It's been about his empire and advancing his empire and controlling shipping lanes and moving goods and getting retribution and things of that nature. This is all the stuff that he would have done in the 20 years he was missing to become the #1 most wanted criminal. And that's where I'm struggling now to find out what is Red's motive behind all this? Is it he's feeling guilty for killing Kaplan and therefore he's trying to right some wrongs and make amends? Because it's the WITSEC list was about Kate's sister doing something for somebody else. The guy this week from the fundraising outfit, he said that he was an outstanding gentleman and had to stop doing everything he was doing in order to save that person. The Cobalt Mines said he was going to take over the operation, but ended up listening to the guy and hearing everything he had to say and believing him. So it almost seems like Red's going soft in a way, or he's at least trying to remember when he was able to discern the people that were doing good from bad, and now he's struggling with that a little bit potentially, or those people are being impacted by these particular blacklisters are impacting those people that he thought were good people, and in order to make up for his guilt from killing Kaplan, he's now avenging the people that affected these people that were actually good people.
I see it this way. I see it as Red killed Kaplan, and I think that finally started hitting him in this second third of the season, and I think he's trying to get back to basics. He's trying to get back to what made him who he is. You know, a lot of people, when they go through tragedy, they go through trauma, what do? They focus on work. They double down on work. They get more involved. I think that's what he's trying to do, and his work world is unraveling, so he has nothing to... He can't really be a part of Liz's life. Kaplan, he knows that he did wrong there. And you've got his work now unraveling. I think he's just trying to grasp some control of his life, and he's failing on every count. That's what I think is happening. So I think they're painting the picture of Red's not in control anymore, and someone is deliberately trying to facilitate that. But also, he only has this one focus now because he can't control anything else, and that's not working out either. So he's losing on all fronts, basically.
Yeah, I could see that too. That's a really good point.
Every 6 or 7 episodes, man, and this is my one. We still don't know who hired Isabella Stone. You think it's Scotty. I'm still going with Kaplan.
I don't think it's Scotty. I think it's...
I thought you just said... Didn't you... No, everybody back me up. Didn't he just say he thought it was Scotty like 10 minutes ago?
No. All the people that answered the question said it might have been Scotty or Madeline Pratt or
I
Kaplan.
could have swore you said you were almost positive it was Scotty.
No. I don't think anybody hired her, to be quite honest. I think there's something deeper here. I think
what would be deeper?
Something that happened in her life that Red affected. It could be just something as simple as there was a thing that Red was involved with that impacted her and her husband potentially, and that's why she's up for revenge. She could be just acting on her own. Could.
I don't think so. I just don't.
I mean, Scotty and Kaplan seem like the easy answers because that's where we left with the hanging chad of Kaplan, and Scotty wants to get back from the cobalt thing, and
yeah, but when they're interrogating her, it seems pretty obvious that she's working for someone. To me, it's pretty obvious. So I get what you're saying, but I just don't believe that. I believe she definitely is working for someone. We'll probably find out in the next episode by the stinger. The very end, we'll find out who it is, but I'm still placing my bet on Kaplan.
Okay.
All right. What do you think about the clock at the end that he gives Agnes? And you find the time with Agnes flies by. He says, I don't care what time it is. I just want to hear the birds sing. My first thought, there's got to be a camera in that clock, right?
I didn't even think of that. But yeah, that makes complete sense now.
Mm-hmm.
How can I still keep an eye on her? And there was obviously the undertone of the, time moves pretty fast when you're with your daughter. And, there's that whole father, mother, whatever you want to call it, parental relationship thing there that's kind of playing back up again.
Oh, speaking of, you said you wanted to acknowledge that you realize you're a nut.
Yes.
About your, Red is Katerina theory?
So there was one line in here, and the first time I was like, I thought he said that he knew Sorrento's for like 20 years, and I was like, okay, well, that fits into the time after the potential sex change that I talk about. But he did say in the conversation, I think it was with Cooper, that Sorrento, like he knew Sorrento's from 1987, specifically called out a year, which is before the 1990 Christmas and 4 years disappearance and all of that stuff. So, potentially a nugget there that could disprove my concept.
Potentially, huh? That's the one that might unravel it?
Well, because it's spelled out specifically, a specific date on the calendar that's before that would have happened. Now, granted, Katerina could have known about it, but we're not going to go. I'm just going to say that there was a specific date, so there is something in the show, because that's what Boca Camp always said, just go to the show. In the show, there is a time when Red knew Sorrento's before 1990.
You know what? He could have had a time machine. I bet you didn't think of that, huh? They just there is a time machine. Red has a time machine.
Timeless was made by the same company, so yeah.
Exactly. Crossover, problem solved.
There you go.
Still be Katerina.
Be an epic event.
Yeah, is that what we call it? We call it an epic event, huh? Not nonsense?
I'd watch that, actually. I like Timeless.
I think that scares me that you would actually want a time machine on the Blacklist.
I don't want a time machine on the Blacklist. I just watched the crossover event because I think it's cool.
Such a nerd. All right. Well, is there anything else on this episode you want to talk about?
I think that pretty much covers it. And
okay.
It's, I'm excited to see where these next two go because the guest actor next week is near and dear to my heart. It's going to be fun.
Can't wait.
Can't tell you. You can read the press release yourself because we said no spoilers, but you'll be excited.
I will be, or they will be.
Everybody will be.
The whole world.
Fantastic actor.
Now I'm excited. I actually don't know who I saw the teaser, but maybe I didn't see the actor you're talking about.
He was not in the teaser.
Oh, all right. Well, I'm not going to go find out. People, just wait. Just savor it. Enjoy.
Let it happen and be like, oh yeah, snap.
That's right.
Kind of
like 50 Shades of Grey. Let it happen.
Like everybody was when they saw Terry O'Quinn. It didn't already know.
Oh, man. I got so excited. I thought it was only going to be in Redemption. I wasn't expecting to see him on Blacklist. And I went,
well, remember, it's one universe. So the universe is the universe.
I get that. I just didn't expect him on the Blacklist ever. And the fact that he's there and I got all excited. And then he died out of a plane crash. I'm like, what? They got to know that's a connection, right? There's no way they don't know that. Very interesting.
The first time, the first time we see Howard on the show actually come up to Tom and he's eating an orange, that would be fun.
All right. And he's got the scar. Please let him have the scar. Why not?
Great.
Okay, well, the show's not over. There's actually some more we're going to talk about. But please remember to download the Blacklist Exposed app for iOS and Android. And be sure to go even deeper into the mystery of Red Reddington by visiting our partner Blacklist site, theblacklistnbc.com. With that, we'll be right back with Red's Rhetoric right after this. Are you sick of the endless, poorly realized remakes as we are? Then take a listen to Remake This Movie Right, where we take a classic movie, figure out what works and what doesn't, throw a dash of humor at it, and then we craft our own remake. So by the end of every episode, we will remake this movie right. Recently featured as a podcast to listen to by the AV Club, you can find us at RemakeThisMovieRight.com or your podcast app of choice. Every movie you love will get a remake someday, and only you can make it better.
Hey, this is John Bokenkamp. You are listening to The Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Welcome to Red's Rhetoric, that part of the show where we take two clips from this week's episode and you get to vote over at theblacklistexposed.com. Last week, you all felt that death was slouching in on you from every corner of the room as Red Death won with 75% of the vote. This week's first clip comes when Red's car is stolen.
25 years in Chicago parking on the street, and my car gets taken in Monte Carlo. I'm telling you, my mother used to say a driver's license is nothing but an invitation to injury and heartache. She was agoraphobic.
But did you see the person who took your vehicle?
Yes, absolutely, I saw them. They took the damn thing right in front of me. They had the audacity to wave as they went away.
A description?
Well, the white one had a ponytail. The other, the black one, very worked out. He must drink a ton of those muscle shakes.
The car?
Gray Mercedes CLS 550, license plate B as in boy, A as in apple.
Please, just say the letters.
Right, okay. B, A, 204, T, R. God knows where they are now and what they've done to my car.
The second clip comes when Red gives Liz a parenting lesson.
What progress have you made with Isabella Stone?
None. She won't cooperate. If someone hired her to come after you, she won't say who.
The truth will out. It always does.
What is this?
For Agnes.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You'll find your time with her goes by too quickly. That's why cuckoo clocks are perfect. I don't really care what time it is. I just want to hear the birds sing.
Which was your favorite? If you wave at a person when stealing their car, vote #RedCar. Or if time moves entirely too fast, vote Red Cuckoo. All right, before we talk to our special agents this week, last week I did put out an open letter, as we've alluded to throughout the show, to the fan community on our partner site, theblacklistnbc.com. Just want to say thank you to all of you that have supported it and shared it on social media and with your friends. I just wanted to put out there that I just felt like there's enough hate and vitriol going on in the world today, especially on the internet and especially here in the United States, that we should at least be cordial to one another. We all love the show. First and foremost, we are humans and fans of the Blacklist second. And we can disagree. Hell, Aaron and I do it all the time. We got 3 years of this show to prove that.
Because you're wrong.
I know.
Wrong.
But let's just agree to disagree like a debate team would, and not the savages that came before us humans. Remember, we're all people, and we just want to share in each other's companies. And since this is an actual fan podcast, yes, there are fans of different camps and opinions out there. During the hiatus between Feb 23rd and we come back in April, we're actually going to have a special roundtable episode moderated by me. Aaron is invited to come if he would like. I know he's going to be at South by Southwest. We'll figure out scheduling and stuff. But we're going to have some people that have some differing opinions about Tom Keene and the spinoff and things of that nature. And we're going to battle it out cordially right here on the fan show, because that's where it should be done. Constructive feedback is always a great way to influence direction, and we are happy to provide that platform. That's what this segment of the show is technically all about. It's for you guys to call us, come on the Facebook group, come on our Tumblr blog, go to Blacklist GSM on Twitter, and just email us feedback@goldenspiralmedia.com. This is your segment of the show. So get your thoughts in. We'll be happy to share them. Whatever you send in, we read them verbatim, as you know, because we can't say German and Russian and all those other things. So just use this platform. This is where you get to talk to the writers. You know that have conversations with them. So if you want to share something, this is the place to do it. So let's go ahead and see what you all thought from this week's episode.
Yeah. And can we, is it okay to ask about that?
Sure.
Like what exactly, here's the thing. I have gotten to the point where as soon as people turn into that hateful vitriol that you were talking about, I just tune it out. I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going to sit here. I have too much in my life that I'm not going to waste it debating or arguing with someone that already has their mind made up. You know, if you're willing to discuss it rationally, open-mindedly, or even if you're firm in your opinion, but you can still discuss it rationally, or you can hear someone and you can have a discussion. Here's why I think this. Here's why you think that. You know, have a rational discussion. I'm all for that, and every day of the week and twice on Sunday. But as soon as you start saying anything, name calling or just basically insulting people or saying hateful comments, that sort of thing, I'm done. I got nothing to say to you. I don't even really, and Troy would say this much more eloquently, but I just don't even have a respect for that. Like, just none. And you know, what was causing that? Because I didn't really notice it, because as soon as I see those comments, I kind of tune them out. I've gotten to the point where I don't even pay attention anymore. I'm just like, I'm not giving that I'm not giving that a second of my time, because the second you give attention to that sort of thing, you know, that feeds that sort of mentality. And I'm not going to feed that. Not me personally. But you pointed it out, and I'm like, well, I got to go see what people are saying, because this is really bothering Troy. And Troy doesn't really get bothered by stuff. I mean, he's kind of the same mentality as me, like, just tune it out. But it was really bugging him. And I looked at it. I didn't know that there was so much still. So what really got that going?
Well, it's been going for a while. Tom Keene is the fundamental character. You probably remember a tweet that came out. I think it was during season 3, where it was the cast of the Blacklist, and it was like what we expected of season 3, and then the bottom picture was, this is what we got from season 3, and it was Tom's face on every character, which we were kind of like, haha, that's funny. That's kind of what happened. Even though it was much more deeper than that. I think there are people that are just really hung up on the Tom and Liz relationship. And we've said it on this show repeatedly. We said it in this episode. You know, we do not like Tom and Liz together. It doesn't work for us. Now, we don't have the same level of disgust with it. There's people that are on the far, 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 far side of the equation that are, you know, it's an abusive relationship. You know, he manipulated Liz the whole time, and they beat her up, and blah 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 blah. And you know, why would the show produce all of this abusive and you know, keep spreading that concept of abuse? And the show should have a higher moral standard because of that. You know, that's kind of the one side of the coin, and then we're on the other side of the coin, which is like, yeah, the relationship just doesn't work for us because we don't like the relationship. We think Tom should be Tom, and Liz should be Liz, and Liz should be a strong, independent woman. I want
to say that I'm on that camp in terms of that's why I say no with Tom.
Right.
Because I think Liz can do better. Now, on the same token, I don't agree with it not being part of it. The show's, I mean, everybody except Rustler is kind of an ass to a degree. I mean, I'm not saying like I like the characters. I'm just saying they've done things that are morally wrong.
Objectionable.
Yeah, morally objectionable. And probably Aram. He's probably safe too. But they've all done it. So in terms of the show, yeah, it fits the world. But that is my biggest problem with the relationship. But I would never be angry or hateful about it. It's just, there's a lot of things on TV shows, man, I don't like. God, 24, I love 24, but that whole bank robbery or that whole breaking into the police station was dumb. I still enjoyed the episode. I mean, it's just not something I loved, but I mean, if you're a fan of the show, I don't know. At some point, you're just going to have to accept it. It is going to happen. It's part of the show now. They've moved on, so we should too, right?
Yeah, I mean, go back to mid-season 2, even on this podcast, where we were like, oh, Ruslan Denizov and the Kenyon family and the Deer Hunter. Like, where is the show going? And we felt like it was going to hit that traditional sophomore slump. And then we had to come in with the whole season 3 is always the best season mantra. But there's definitely times we've disagreed with the show and didn't like it. And we've come around. And honestly, I think the show is really, really good right now. And to say that, we kind of talked about this already, but to say that I'm not going to watch the spinoff because it has Tom. You know, it just, that argument, I want to know more about that argument and why that is. Because I want to watch the spinoff because it is Tom. It is the Tom that I want to see. I want to see badass Tom, kicking ass and taking names. I'm excited for the spinoff. It's probably I hate to be on the side of the people that want Tom off the show and think Tom is ruining the Blacklist because it takes away screen time from Spader and blah, 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 blah. But this is the best thing that could have happened for that group because Tom's off the show. He's not going to be on the show, depending on, again, where that whole timeline March, April thing that I talked about happens. But I'm just...
am I alone? I'm the only one. I want to watch it because of Famke and now Terry O'Quinn.
Exactly.
That's why I want to watch it.
I thought Solomon was the most interesting bad guy ever.
Yeah, I think he's great. Eddie Gathegi is great.
Famke is Famke. Terry O'Quinn is a masterclass in acting, almost, like Spader in this case. And it's just...
Thank you. I would agree with that. I think he's in the same class as Spader. Maybe not as recognized, but same class.
So to say you're not going to watch the show because of Tom, I want to understand that logic because there's so many, even Martinez, playing the Aram character. I think the show is going to be so interesting and different. And yes, you may have to suffer through 3-4 episodes to do the signposts and get it to where it needs to be, but that's because it's a larger narrative. They're building out a giant Blacklist universe. I'll take Babylon 5, for example. Not that many people watch Babylon 5 or might be familiar with Babylon 5.
I was too busy living my life.
But Babylon 5, the showrunners actually wrote 1,000 years of history prior to the show and 1,000 years of history after the show.
That's
so that
impressive.
There's this universe that everything has to exist in. And the fact that we're getting an expanded Blacklist universe with like the graphic novels that we had with the Arsonist and the Gambler, the fact that we're getting these books, a second book is coming here in the spring from Titan, which is completely fantastic. The fact that we have the video game, the fact that we had the escape room thing, the fact that we have the spinoff, and the world of the Blacklist is expanding. And anything that kind of showcases this world, now we've built a thing where we could have a prequel, we could have a future thing. Liz could grow up and have her own empire potentially down the road. Who knows? That's exciting because we love the concept of the thing. I'm watching, enjoying this show. Yes, more than likely we all started watching the show because it was James Spader on the cover, on the front of it, and the whole Hannibal Clarice scene is what we were all kind of drawn to when we first watched the show. But
that's the iconic moment, yeah.
Yeah, but the show's expanded and grown so much that there's something for everybody here. And just to have so much hate about one particular character, I want to have this roundtable to understand where that hate's coming from. Because for the people that said that it was an abusive relationship, remember, Liz shot Tom. Liz tied Tom up in a boat. Liz was just as abusive as Tom was.
Yeah, but he pulled the first straw. I'm kind of with him on that one, but
yeah,
we'll move forward.
But again, is that Tom's fault? That's Red's fault. Red's the one that hired Tom to put Tom in that position. So you should be blaming Red. You shouldn't be blaming Tom.
I would say Red didn't make him whack his wife, But so I get that argument because I'm a fan of that argument. And that is totally a real world problem when this is a show problem. So those are two different things, but they don't want to keep hammering on that. But that is good that you're going to put together that round table. I will be at South by Southwest, so I'm sorry, man. That takes a lot of my time. It's movie, and that sort of thing. So I won't really have a lot of time. But if I can, I'll try to make that because that sounds like it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah,
to hear, especially since I might have some of their backs. I'm like, no, I get it, Troy. Why don't you leave them alone?
Yeah, and I think that the big thing is that people were associating certain characters with certain writers, and just Dave Metzger from the show put out a really great Tumblr post this week. So if you haven't had a chance to read it, I would definitely go read it, especially having visited the room twice. It is a group effort. There's nobody owns one character, nobody owns one story. It is literally everybody writes together. They each have their own little pieces of the story that come together, and then it all goes up to both Johns to look over every single word and approve every single word. So there's no division and no, allegiances to one character. So, just debate. I agree with you. We do not like the Tom and Liz relationship together. We're on the same page there. I think just the foundational elements that make up why we need to hash those out a little bit and understand each other.
I think we've just accepted it, and it is what it is. So we're just going to move, I'm not going to let it affect my enjoyment of the show. Another shout out to Dave Metzger, because in that post that you're talking about on Tumblr, he had like several Angel references. One of my favorite shows of all time. So that just made me go, high five. What's up, buddy? Now let's move into our special agent intel. What you guys thought of this week's episode. We'll start with Gene. Says, Michael Scott, better watch out. Jan is on the loose and madder than ever. Oh, wait, wrong show. Though it does tie nicely with James Spader. LOL. That's true.
That's true, because James was the Michael Scott there for a while.
Yeah, wasn't he like in one whole season or something?
He was the boss. Yeah. Ron said, Howard Hargrave's dead? Methinks not.
He better not be. Julie says, what a great episode. Plenty of everything that makes the Blacklist the best show on television.
Agree. Priscilla, great episode. Ugh, I don't want it to be Kaplan who hired Isabella Stone. I really want her to save Red so she can redeem herself. Guess we'll have to wait and see. So Tom's death was faked, and I'm guessing his father's plane crash was a fake death too? I think Tom's dad faked his son's death to get him away from his mother, and now he's tired of her, so he faked his own death also. I would listen to Red and stay away from Susan Hargrave. I think you're on to something there, Priscilla.
Yep. I bet you Tom's real name is Jack. What? Henry.
Why is it so hard for you to believe?
Oh, my Megan, Henry says. Oh, my Megan. I like that. Terry O'Quinn in the franchise. This just got serious like a bullet through the heart. New show has quickly gone from interesting to lost kind of awesome. Yep. Terry O'Quinn brings that kind of excitement out in me, too. I'm with you, man.
With you. Anita, lots of good things about this episode. I loved having more Red in action, and I liked Liz in the episode. She wasn't whiny or self-absorbed. I think this is the first episode in Season 4 where neither Liz nor Samar has whined. I like the Tom backstory. Let's pause right there, because we didn't talk about this.
I disagree with that, by the way, but whatever.
So
that seems to be a common complaint, and honestly, it's one that frustrates me. I think that they both have been very strong, except for I didn't like the whole whining about the pay thing. I thought that was kind of ridiculous. But overall, I think they've been very strong characters this season. So that's all I have to say about that.
Here was my challenge with this episode, because this goes back to the another group of people that is so tired of the flip-flopping between Liz and Red. Mm-hmm. And this episode, it seems like I owe him for getting my badge back. I owe him this. I owe him that. And I'm sitting there listening to his wonderful story. And tell me more. Tell me more. It's like, are we watching Grease or are we watching?
I was thinking that too. Tell me more. Tell me more.
So yeah, this episode was interesting for Liz because it seems like she's back on Red's side again. And even though she may or may not know that he just happened to be at her apartment, we were literally 2 episodes ago like, no, you can't come over yet. It's too early. So,
yeah, he got in there pretty quick, right?
He did.
Forgot to mention that. Yeah, he got in there pretty quick.
So, yeah, maybe this is a little bit of the flip-flopping thing. I don't know. Granted, she has she does make the good points of, well, he did this for me and he did this for me, so yeah, I should be nice and kind to him. But it seemed like she was still holding something against him. And here, it seemed like, oh, we're back to happy Liz and Red, early season 3 conversations.
All right, well, finish your thought.
All right. So I like the Tom backstory, and it made me want to see redemption. However, I found the wrestler problem to be unbelievable. If you want to go be with your brother,
let her, a little Andrew Dice Clay reference for you.
Let her finish. If you want to go be with your brother who's having surgery, tell your boss he's having surgery. Is there anyone reading this who doesn't believe Harold would have told him, go be with your family?
Nope.
I'm sure this is setting up a future crisis in the FBI team, but it could have been done more believably. This is not a criticism of Diego's acting. His angst was very believable. I agree. I think he did a really great job with that phone call and scene.
He did. But it was unbelievable. Oh, nobody? Nope. All right. Wait, yeah, I agree. Cooper, I already talked about it. Cooper would have let him go. You'd give him a sick day. Get flex time. Be fine. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Finally Wendy. Well, another Blacklist episode of old. Great Blacklister, and it's looking like it's going to be a continued arc too, which is fine by me. Well, there was a total flip in personalities this week. Samara and Lizzie both got out of their grumps that has plagued them these last few episodes, only for Wrestler and Cooper to have their turns. There does seem to be a theme going on within the team questioning why are they risking their lives for Red, aside from Aram. Interesting lead to redemption, too, with the mention of Tom's dad and his looking into his past. I love that they are showing Red's vulnerability and almost at a loss as to what to do, or having no idea who was after him. That was plain to see when Dembe implored him to stop before anyone else gets hurt. It appears to me that the writers may be sending Red really off the deep end. Hit rock bottom before he comes back guns blazing. There are too many variables as to who could be setting Red up. Kaplan is too obvious of choice. You know, sometimes obvious is the right choice. Oh, she said that. Never mind. And yet, the perfect choice. But I think not out of revenge. I think perhaps she just wants him to get out of that tunnel vision he has for Lizzie. The Hargraves, nope, not for them either. I think Laurel Hitchens and the remaining Cabal members could be likely suspects. Yeah, we haven't seen Laurel Hitchens in a while. And the way outsider Katerina, because I'm still on the fence if she really did take a long swim in the sea. I'm not. I know she's still alive. It's just a matter of if she's, wearing pants. Really looking forward to the next couple of episodes before the next hiatus. Ugh.
But it's not a hiatus. Okay. There's 8 more episodes of something else Blacklist related. It's going to be awesome.
That's true. It's not. I mean, it is a Blacklist hiatus. It's a different show.
It's a Spader hiatus. It's a Megan hiatus. But
it's a Spader and Megan hiatus. That's what we're going to call it, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, it's interesting because I don't know.
A spoon hiatus. That's so beautiful. Spoon. Spader. Boon.
Spoon.
Yeah. Spoon.
The new hashtag.
You know what? Shut up. That was brilliant.
Instead of Lissington, it's now Spoon.
Yep, Spoon. Spoon's so much better. Why did no one else think of that?
Because it's not the character names, Aaron.
Shut up. That's going to conclude this episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter.
No, I have one comment to Wendy there.
How much talking are you going to do this week? My God, man.
Well, I just wanted to put this out there because a lot of people may not know that this actually does exist. And I'm not saying this to be rude or inconsiderate or anything like that, but I love the concept of, like Samara and Lizzie were in a funk in the grumps, as she called it, and now Wrestler and Cooper are. Did you know that there's actually a real syndrome called not PMS, which is what women have, but males actually have something called IMS, irritable male syndrome. And this is actually a true thing, right? It can be defined as a state of hypersensitivity. It is. I'm telling you. It's the state of hypersensitivity, frustration, anxiety, and anger that occurs in males and is associated with biochemical changes, hormonal fluctuations, stress, and loss of male identity.
That's WBS, whiny bitch syndrome. That's what that is. Come on. Like, women have a real medical reason for what they're going through. Like, I mean, that's very painful.
Right.
That's just some dude doctor is just a whiny bitch. Like, you know what? I got to come up with something because it's not cool that we don't have anything to excuse our behavior. That's what that sounds like.
Just saying, it's a medical thing. So
you'd
say wrestler.
When I'm grumpy and snippy, it's because I'm being an ass. That's all it is. It's not because of any medical condition that was made up.
Well, you could say that Cooper and Wrestler are both stressed out at this point. They got other things going on in their lives, and I don't like the way my task force is going. And
that's true, but let's not compare it to PMS because that's not a fair comparison.
Hey,
medically, it's not a fair comparison.
It's not.
No.
but it is a chemical imbalance, which technically would be a medical thing.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Troy. I appreciate that. That's going to conclude.
I might have had a little
episode.
IMS last weekend. I don't know.
I think you have it every episode. We're going to conclude this episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter at The Blacklist GSM, where we live tweet during the East Coast feed, and we use the show's hashtag, The Blacklist.
Don't forget to follow us on Tumblr, Instagram, and join the Facebook group so that you can share your thoughts and opinions. Just search for The Blacklist Exposed. Talk about the show, the podcast, or share your best tips for winning at the craps table.
Yes, and you can also tell Troy how he suffers from WBS every week. You can also subscribe to the podcast on iTunes or listen from the website. But if you are really on the go, make sure you download our app for iOS and Android powered by Spreaker. You'll also find all the intel and analysis about this episode for Isabella Stone by visiting the blacklistexposed.com. Big thanks for listening. Don't forget to answer our profiling question. Will wrestler become a liability? You put reliability. I'm not Ron Burgundy. All right?
Just testing you.
I'm on the ball, son. It's all up here.
Remember, April 22nd at 3 p.m. in Chicago is the Blacklist panel. $40 gets you in the door. We definitely want to see all of you there as well.
Yeah, nobody's making, that's actually to the show. It's not for us or anything. Right. Just so you know.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinritz. That's at Troy Heinritz on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinritz.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsider.com or on Twitter at H_outsider. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.